You thought she came to comfort you? Not today. When Mother Kali speaks, the universe listens and shakes. Because this destruction isn't chaos. It's cleansing. It's the end of everything that holds you back, deceives you, weakens you. Today, you'll understand why some battles aren't optional. They're divine orders. And if you feel like it's time to break free from what's been holding you down, then buckle up. This message is for you. No one's born powerful. Even the fiercest warriors come from somewhere, and it was no different with Ma Kali. She didn't just appear out of nowhere or come from chaos. She came from the mighty goddess Durga, feminine power in its purest form. When Durga saw darkness rising, she knew a stronger force was needed. So she created Kali. That alone tells us that even destruction can be an act of deep love, especially when it's meant to restore balance. Think about it. How many times in life do we need to awaken our strongest side to protect what truly matters? Durga didn't ask. She commanded. And that changes everything. The order to destroy Mahi Panda wasn't a suggestion, it was a divine call to action. When life gives you a clear signal like that burning desire to change, to win an inner war, or to break free from something toxic, you don't negotiate with it. That's when a whole new level of courage kicks in. You can't ignore a command that comes from deep within, from your truest self. Ma Kali didn't hesitate. And maybe that's the key. Stop hesitating. Now, the name Mahi Panda might sound far from your reality, but the meaning hits close to home. He stands for that thing in your life that feels unbeatable, crippling fear, overwhelming anxiety, silent guilt. But once you realize your inner power is made to face that kind of asura, everything shifts. Maybe what you're lacking isn't strength, but clarity about your mission. And once that clarity shows up, like it did for Kali, the destruction begins, and that leads us to what happens next when that inner awakening kicks in. When Ma Kali steps onto the battlefield, there's no dramatic buildup, no pep talk, no empty promises. She shows up and gets it done. Chanda and Munda, two of the scariest asuras, were taken down like it was nothing, not because they were weak, but because she was fully present. That's what happens when you move with full awareness of your purpose. It's not about fighting harder, it's about fighting smarter, with clarity and focus. These demons, no matter how terrifying, didn't stand a chance against a force that didn't come from anger, but from truth. Kali didn't fight to prove anything. She fought because it had to be done. And here's the powerful lesson. Sometimes the battle you're in isn't about showing the world who you are. It's about protecting who you know you are. And let's be real, when someone moves with that kind of inner certainty, even the toughest problems start to back off real fast. Need a real-life example. Picture this: you're stuck in a toxic job, a draining relationship, or fighting an emotional storm inside your head. Instead of panicking or trying to win out of pride or fear, try doing what Kali would do. Take a deep breath, recognize your power, and go straight to the heart of the matter. No drama, no second guessing, no making deals with what should have been gone long ago. That's where the real destruction begins, and spoiler alert, there's still a whole lot of power in you waiting to rise. It wasn't just what Kali did, it was how she did it. Just watching her in action was enough to chill the blood of her enemies. She didn't need words. Her presence alone was like an army marching in perfect sync. That's the kind of power you don't explain, you feel it. You know that moment when someone walks into a room and shifts the whole vibe without saying a word. That's it. When you truly embody who you are, your presence speaks louder than any speech ever could. This is your time to show, not tell. And that goes for real life too. Saying you're going to change, grow, or become your best self, everybody says that. But when you live it, when your habits, your gaze, even your silence radiate transformation, that's when the world takes notice. It's like the universe responds more to your energy than your intentions. So ask yourself, what's your energy saying about you right now, even when you're not speaking? If you want to put this into practice today, start with your posture. Pull your shoulders back, straighten your spine, steady your gaze not to show off, but to remind your body of the strength living inside it. Dress like someone who respects themselves. Walk like you know where you're going. Speak only when needed. That display of power, it's not arrogance, it's alignment. And when the world feels that coming from you, it knows something bigger is on its way. The battlefield was blazing, but one name still echoed through the Asura's ranks: Mahesh Pandar. He was that kind of enemy who thought he couldn't be touched, like those stubborn problems that keep popping back up, no matter how far you've come. But then came the goddess Chandamari. With the same fierce certainty Kali had shown, Chandamari ended Mahesh's story, no drama needed. What once felt impossible crumbled in the face of a power that didn't seek permission, just took bold, clean action. Here's what's wild: Mahesh didn't fall by accident. He fell because he underestimated someone who showed up with purpose. And that reminds us of something big. You don't always have to be the one to destroy your obstacle. Sometimes another force, a new mindset, a new chapter, a new spiritual practice does it for you. But that only happens if you're in the arena. You can't win a war sitting in the stands. Want to see how this plays out in real life? Imagine you're facing an old pattern: procrastination, self-sabotage, negative thoughts. As soon as you start a new meditation routine or surround yourself with more conscious people, that inner Mahesh Pandar starts to lose steam. You don't need to scream at it or spiral into a crisis. Just be where the action is, with clarity, with presence. And when that happens, the battle starts to shift in your favor. At first glance, it might look like just another mythical war scene, but underneath all the chaos, there's deep spiritual symbolism. That percentage of power given to the merciless one. It wasn't a gift, it was a trap. It shows us that when we give power to someone or something without integrity, the outcome is always destructive. And let's be honest, this lesson still hits home. How many times have we poured energy, our time, attention, or money into someone or something that deep down wasn't aligned with truth? The result is usually loss, frustration, or chaos. This symbolism is a wake-up call to look closely at where we place our faith. Faith isn't just about praying, it's about trusting, investing, believing. And when that trust is placed in the wrong hands, a broken system, a toxic relationship, or even a limiting belief, destruction is just around the corner. Ma Kali makes that crystal clear. She destroys whatever's been fed through illusion. And maybe that's why so many people fear awakening, because to truly wake up, you have to let die what was built on lies. If you want to apply this right now, ask yourself, where are you investing your energy? Is there any percentage you've handed over to something that's not lifting you up? Maybe it's a social media feed that drains you, a thought you keep repeating without questioning, or a habit that looks harmless but pulls you away from what truly matters. Kali shows up as a living reminder. Power given without awareness turns into destruction. And when that moment comes, hesitation is no longer an option. The Asuras could barely make sense of what was happening, and it wasn't just fear. It was the speed. Ma Kali moved so fast, so precisely. Her presence looked like a streak of energy slicing through the air. They saw the effects, but couldn't trace the cause. And as mystical as that sounds, it's actually a practical lesson. When you move with clarity and focus, your speed throws obstacles off balance. Problems that used to chase you can't catch up because you're not in the same place anymore. Their confusion wasn't just physical, it was mental. They tried to understand her through logic, while Kali was dancing with truth. Sometimes you don't overcome a challenge by explaining it, you overcome it by transcending it. It's like when you stop arguing with people who don't want to listen and just change your behavior instead. When you shift your energy people who aren't aligned with it fall away without even knowing why. It's like walking out of a maze without telling anyone, while they're still running in circles. Want to bring this into your day-to-day life? Start by changing your response instead of trying to change the other person. When someone tries to drag you into drama, act fast. Take a deep breath, flash a soft smile, and choose not to react. That quick, conscious move is going to confuse anyone expecting the old version of you. But that's the space where transformation kicks in. Because the speed of awareness always beats the sluggishness of ignorance. And when that hits, the battle shifts once again. Wounded in his pride, Mahesh Pandar makes one last move. He charges at the goddess with everything he's got, thinking brute force might finally do the trick. But Kali doesn't flinch. In fact, she doesn't even budge. As he yells and rushes forward, she stays centered, like she's seen this scene play out 1,000 times. And that's the core lesson. When you've mastered your presence, not even the loudest attacks can shake your center. You don't react, you respond with clarity. This moment is powerful because it shows the enemy going all in, but he's already lost. Mahesh stands for that problem in your life that keeps trying to mess with you, even when it's running on empty. Maybe it's a self-sabotaging thought, a toxic relationship that keeps coming back, or a doubt that should have left long ago. The secret isn't to fight harder, it's to stay grounded. And when you do, the attack crumbles on its own. Because anything not rooted in truth can't survive impact. If this reminds you of something in your life, try this exercise. Before reacting to any trigger inside or out, pause for 10 seconds. Just observe. Breathe. Watch it like you're an audience member in your own movie. That alone changes the game. The mind stops racing, and your body gets the space to choose better. Mahesh came in expecting chaos, but when he found silence, he met his defeat. And that shift, that's where real devotion starts to show itself. Even with the clash of swords and the deafening roar of war, something deeper was happening. Mantras. They didn't just come from the mouths of devotees, they seemed to rise out of the air itself. It was like sacred sound was holding the battle together, protecting the truth's vibration in the middle of all the noise. That shows us even in the toughest moments, true devotion doesn't disappear. It becomes the inner soundtrack that keeps you steady when everything around you is screaming the opposite. These mantras aren't just pretty words. They're alignment codes. When you chant them, your body relaxes, your mind clears up, and your heart opens. Ma Kali wasn't alone. She was backed by the resonance of everyone who was tuned into the bigger purpose. So here's the question. What's your mantra? What word, phrase, or thought do you repeat daily that reminds you who you are? Because if you don't have one, the world will pick one for you, and odds are it'll be a mantra of fear, doubt, or lack. Ready to begin? Try the mantra, Om Krim Kali Kai Namaha, in the morning with your eyes closed and your breath steady. Repeat it with presence, like you're calling your power back. It might seem simple, but try it for 21 days and watch what starts to shift. Devotion, unlike religion, is deeply personal. It's born when you recognize that something greater exists, and that this something lives within you. And it's in this sacred space that the last demons start to show themselves. Even after everything had fallen apart, Chanda and Munda still held onto their egos like armor. They believed they were untouchable because of Brahmadeva's blessing, as if a spiritual diploma could protect them from the consequences of their own actions. And let's be honest, how often does that happen in real life? Some people think that just because they meditate, pray, or know a lot, they're above life's lessons. But Kali doesn't sugarcoat it. A blessing isn't a free pass for ignorance. Anything not lived with integrity turns into a dangerous illusion. Their frustration pours out in their words. They thought they were powerful, but they were completely lost. It's the classic case of confusing knowledge with wisdom. Quoting a spiritual line isn't the same as living the truth behind it. And when spiritual ego kicks in, the fall hits even harder. Chanda and Munda didn't just lose the fight, they lost their connection to purpose. And once that's gone, everything else loses color, meaning, and direction. Now here's something to think about. Is there a part of you hiding behind titles, stories, or past experiences to justify staying stuck? Sometimes the biggest obstacle isn't the world, it's the story you keep telling yourself. If you want to break free, try silence. Even 5 minutes a day. Just sit and watch your thoughts like a curious observer. And when you do, get ready because the goddess's voice starts echoing from somewhere much deeper. Did you feel it? Kali's presence is impossible to ignore. She awakens, slices through, and reveals. And now that you've made it through this journey, there's no going back to who you were. The question is, what will you do with this insight? Will you keep ignoring the inner battles, or will you finally stand your ground, ready to be reborn stronger, wiser, and freer? Drop a comment. What part of this journey hit you the hardest? And if you're ready to keep diving into teachings that really change your life, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because what's coming next goes even deeper.